Okay, guys, I'm here for my review of the 2021 WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I know I'm almost a month late on his pay-per-view, but I got a little bit busy and couldn't get to it till now. So, yeah. So the show kicked off with the pre-show match, which is the women's tag team titles, with Charlotte and Asuka versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. So yes, Charlotte Flair was on the pre-show for this pay-per-view. This was an okay little match. It doesn't count towards the actual rating of the show, but it was an okay match. In the end, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax regained the women's tag team title after an interference from Lacey Evans. And okay. So the main show kicked off with the WWE Championship Match between Drew McIntyre and Goldberg. This was a one-star match. It was every traditional Goldberg match there's been recently. Quick, explosive. McIntyre kicked out of a jackhammer. And Goldberg kicked out of at least one Claymore, but the second one pinned him and Drew McIntyre won. So a one-star match for what it was. So then we get the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Sasha Banks versus Carmella. This was an okay match, 2.5 stars here. A lot of the stuff came from the sommelier of Carmella, Reginald. At one point, he caught Sasha Banks outside the ring, and she did a hit scissors on him. And he got ejected for that, even though he didn't do anything. It's a weird thing, but anyway, Sasha Banks eventually won with the bank statement and retained her title. So then we get the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble. Now, the order of entry for this Royal Rumble will be in the description, as I always do with these videos. The Royal Rumble itself was a very good Royal Rumble. It was a 4.5 star Royal Rumble. Started out with Bayley and Naomi, and then Bianca Belair at number 3. The final 4 in this Royal Rumble were Natalya, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca Belair. And Natalya eliminated, and, Natalya was the first one eliminated from the final 4. Natalya, by the way, had entered number 30 because she had won a match on WWE Backstage the night before this. Natalya got eliminated first out of the final 4, and then it came down to Rhea, Bianca, and Charlotte. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair eliminated Charlotte. It came down to 2 of them. There was this nice little double clothesline spot where they look like they're both going out, but they both don't hit the floor and they get back in. But eventually, Bianca Belair eliminates Rhea Ripley to win the Women's Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, becoming the first woman in the Women's Royal Rumble to win from the number 3 position. And in the overall Royal Rumble, I believe the second person to ever win from that number, the first being Ric Flair. Now, I would have had Charlotte win from this number, but I'm not the WWE. But there were 3 Royal Rumble rookies in this. They were Jillian Hall, Victoria, and Santana Garrett from NXT, even though you wouldn't know she's from NXT because she's never on the show. And Jillian Hall was a unique surprise, but the biggest surprise there was Victoria. So that was nice. But like I said, a 4.5 star Royal Rumble. Not a bad Rumble at all. So then we get the last man standing match for the WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a 4.5 star match. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens have good matches. They've been having good matches for a long time, and every match they've had has been really good. But this was technically one of those foregone conclusion matches, since Roman Reigns is not going to be losing that title till at least Mania, and I would probably argue he shouldn't, even at Mania, he shouldn't lose it. But the finish for this match was, there was a spot where Reigns looked to be down for the count, but he dragged the referee, and the referee hit into a partition, and then Reigns put Kevin Owens to sleep with the triangle choke, and retained his championship. 4.5 stars, though, very good match. So then we get the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble match, a 4-star match, And yes, they did spoil number 1 and 2 on WWE Backstage, although when they announced it on Backstage, they did this in reverse order, and they flipped these. Number 1 was Edge, and number 2 was Randy Orton. That's almost poetic in some situation. Now, Randy Orton eventually ended up getting a knee injury that took him backstage. And like they always do in the Royal Rumble for some reason, they counted this as that Randy Orton could not come back. Even though if you've been watching the Royal Rumble for years now, you know that generally when that happens, somebody comes back to the ring. And in this case, Randy Orton came back later, because the final 4 in this are technically Edge, Christian, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton. Because Seth Rollins, of course, had returned. And, of course, Christian returned in a full match capacity for the first time in a while. I know he had that match technically over on Raw a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago. That wasn't much of anything. But, that would have so needed a crowd. And Christian got really shafted because there's no crowd there. But yeah, this was a good Royal Rumble, and, it came down to Edge and Orton, and Edge threw Orton over the top rope, winning the Royal Rumble, becoming the third person to win the Royal Rumble, the third person to win a men's Royal Rumble in the number 1 position. Although the second one they'll finally be able to talk about now, because they're not going to talk about the other guy that did it. So, yeah, it was a 4-star Royal Rumble. All in all, though, this was a really good Rumble pay-per-view. Every match on the other card was good to decent. Okay, there was Drew and Goldberg. What did you expect from that match? And both Rumble winners made a lot of sense. I know that, Rhea Ripley had the most eliminations in the Women's Rumble, and Damian Priest had the most in the Men's Rumble, tied with Seth Rollins at 4. Rhea Ripley had 7 in the Women's. And Rhea has plenty of time to win a Royal Rumble. She's only, 24, 25, something like that. She has plenty of time to win the Royal Rumble. So that's my review of 2021 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. If you like this video, like button's down there, subscribe button's down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.